Before we start today's show, let me tell you the podcast is brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West, there in Oxford. Take advantage of their lunch specials, their ribs all throughout the day, Oxford Crystal being next door, and so many other things. Pull in, get some gas, get a million of things from the convenience store. It is clean, it is easy to navigate, and it gives good prices to you. There on Highway 6 West, it's the Oxford Exxon and the Oxford Crystal, and we're coming to you from the Clark Ford studio. You know to call Corey Clark there in Amory, 662-257-1900. That's on Highway 25 South. Just as you get into Amory, and when you give him a call, you get a quote within 15 minutes of business hours. Shop it around, take it, whatever you would like to do with it. You're going to come back to Corey. He's going to give you the best deal, and when you're finishing up that deal, tell him about the podcast. Tell him you heard about them on any of our family of podcasts, and he'll get $500 off there with Clark Ford in Amory. Now on with the show.
From the Clark Ford studio in Oxford, Mississippi, MBW Digital proudly presents the Oxford Exxon Podcast.
I'd say thanks for tuning in, but why am I going to give you a round of applause for something that you're supposed to do, to be frank?
And now, here are your hosts, Chase Parham.
That broadcast school has really paid off.
And Neal McCready.
I deserve to be on TV.
Welcome to this edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal McCready, Clark Ford Studio. It is a Thursday morning. My days are running together a little bit, but today is Thursday. Hope all of you had a Merry Christmas, a wonderful holiday season that is still ongoing, safe travels, and all those things. Appreciate you giving us a few days there for vacation, for Christmas, to kind of catch our breath a little bit. We're still going to do a little bit of that. Just quickly, a little bit of a schedule moving forward. Again, today's Thursday. We get a podcast today, no podcast tomorrow, and then probably be back on a regular schedule on a Wednesday. You've got Monday and Tuesday being New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and then back at it in earnest on Wednesday is kind of what we're thinking. So that's where this thing will go. And frankly, from a news standpoint, you hadn't missed much. We had our last show the day after all of the Will Hall stuff with Ole Miss. Since that point, things have slowed down. The only news value is Maurice Harris headed to Liberty with Hugh Freeze, something that had kind of been in the works for a while, became official a few days ago as well.
And
so
people question the veracity of Santa Claus.
There were some people that said that was their Christmas gift.
It's a hell of a gift. If you're an Ole Miss fan, that's a gift.
Think so?
Well, you can't do worse recruiting Memphis.
I mean, that's more helpful than that fourth tie or a pair of socks if it wasn't dead socksy over the weekend. So, I mean, it's just saying.
Better than that, like, 6-pack of Russell Athletic socks that somebody gave you.
Don't think those stay up as well?
I guarantee it. Now, they probably recruit Memphis better than Maurice Harris, but regardless.
Look at you. 90 seconds into this thing.
I don't know what took so long. It remains a question that I have.
They were letting him leave on his own. That's why.
It's generous.
What's the reason? I believe that.
We heard a lot of stuff about, well, he's just paramount to the recruiting efforts. So you're saying you think that was spin?
I'm saying that was spin to get him to get another job and to have a bit of parachute, yes. That's what I believe. I think they would have eventually fired Maurice Harris, but I think they were going to give him every opportunity to leave on his own first and not put that, quote, mark on his resume for whatever that's worth. And, I mean, you and I had this conversation yesterday. We're going to get a lot of stuff. There's not an hour worth of news, so we'll get to plenty of other crap as this goes on. But, I mean, I think, and I'm just kind of thinking here, it feels like to me that it's one of those deals where they want to make sure everybody, if they can get out. There's a lot of talk about, well, look, if the end game is the same, what difference does it make? Well, it doesn't in a functionality standpoint, but there's some PR here. There's a lack of, it's not even trust. It's just basically lack of anything with this program from the fan base right now. It's my opinion, just my opinion. I haven't talked to Ross Bjork in several weeks. This is not coming from anybody over there for sure, because they probably will roll their eyes at me when I say this. I think Matt Luke needs to fire somebody. I mean, and I don't mean like, go find a scapegoat or whatever. I just mean if you know a guy's not back with your staff, especially one of these people like Maurice, who was on a one-year contract, there is no buyout. There was no money difference either way, no matter what you did. He was going to get a job or be fired. Go ahead and fire him, because it wasn't going to impact his ability to get on with Hugh Freeze at Liberty. He was still getting that job no matter what you did right here. Matt Luke needs to show that he can fire someone. and I know everybody goes, well, Wesley McGriff the day after. I don't know. It feels like as this thing is going on and on and on, and we've all talked about staff changes and all these different things, that it's a weird PR move, in my opinion, allowing everybody to kind of grab that parachute and take it on down to the ground when it has no impact on you financially whatsoever either way. Is that fair?
Yeah, I agree. I thought the PR move of making Wesley McGriff the sole scapegoat the day after the season was I agree with you about Harris. I think they were going to fire him had he not found another job.
I think end result is the same either way. I do.
The one that I think would have been fascinating, we talked about this yesterday, I was out walking the dogs, is Longo. I do wonder, and I don't know either way.
I'm not saying he was staying, but there are some people who believe that had he hung on for dear life and done everything to stay as the offensive coordinator at Ole Miss, that he would have remained the offensive coordinator at Ole Miss.
And depending on what happens in the next couple weeks, I suppose, there's a chance that people look back and go, kind of wish Phil Longo were back. I don't think that happens.
You're talking about somebody in particular?
Well, no. Look, I mean, that's the elephant in the room.
I mean, look, we the last thing we reported for anybody catching up at this point is that Ole Miss was going to entertain some NFL personnel for the offensive coordinator job.
I heard two names, and both of those names have since sort of made their way to message boards, and I feel comfortable saying them.
Go ahead.
Steve Sarkisian, who is with the Falcons, and you and I talked about this yesterday. He might not get fired.
He didn't have the worst year in the world. I mean, they were bad defensively. They had a bunch of injuries and a bunch of stuff. But
I don't think Dan Quinn's going to be a victim on Black Monday.
No. Quinn's not getting fired.
For those who don't follow the NFL, which is not many of you, this coming Monday is the day after the regular season, and it typically begins that morning with a rash of firings. If you survive Monday, your chances
Probably
improve dramatically. I think Dan Quinn will survive Monday. Dirk Cutter in Tampa will almost certainly not survive Black Monday.
Tampa was supposed to be better by now. Hence.
Yeah, the what's his name? He just
Todd Monken.
Thank you, Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator with the Bucks, former USM coach.
Done a good job there. Did a good job there.
Yeah, his name has come up as well.
He was at Oklahoma State for a while. He's been all over. He's done a nice job offensively.
His candidacy would make some sense.
He's also at least a dark horse name to get some better NFL gigs, too, as this thing moves forward. People like him.
And that's what's going to be interesting is that a lot of those guys, unless they've just made up their minds that they want to return to the college game, they kind of want to wait and do the Senior Bowl week. One of the things that happens in Mobile that week is it's the NFL convention. It's right after the divisional playoffs, right? It's the weekend of the championship games when they report. And they all get into Mobile together on that Saturday before the NFC and AFC championship game. And they drink some beers and eat some shrimp and go to a couple bad strip clubs and do some conventioning. They go to the weigh-in day and they weigh all the players that are there and all that stuff. And they go to the practices, and those practices are job fairs. Guys are walking around. Most every NFL head coach who's not in the playoffs, or in that case, who's not in the Super Bowl. So all but two are at the Senior Bowl. Just about every GM is there. In fact, every GM is there. So if you're a guy like Monken, if you want to stay in the NFL, and I have no idea whether he does or doesn't, no clue. But if you do, you kind of want to wait for that week. Who gets the job in Jacksonville, or who gets the job in Cleveland, or whatever, Cincinnati, whatever. And do you want to get on that staff? Because NFL jobs pay well, and the pension is awesome.
Speaking of pension, it's not like Monken has a ton of years in the Mississippi system. That's no impact on this whatsoever.
Right.
He's only got like 3.
No, he's probably got, at this point, every bit as much invested in the NFL as he does the college stuff. So I don't know what happens there. And then the other name that popped up yesterday, and I've not heard this anywhere.
This is just one of those things that people talk about because it's a name people talk about.
That's Gunnar Brewer, who's with the Philadelphia Eagles.
He's the wide receivers coach of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Now, the Eagles aren't getting fired. That's not going to be Black Monday.
No.
A year removed from a Super Bowl.
And potentially in the playoffs again.
And probably in the playoffs again. So he's not getting fired. He's expressed interest in coming here before. I remember back when Hugh Freeze hired who was he hiring?
Was it? It wasn't the OC job though.
It was something else. It was maybe
Peeler.
Maybe it was Peeler.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And he wanted.
There was a couple really good stories that I'd love to tell right now that I just don't remember the whole stories now.
Yeah,
looking back.
And this is one of them where Brewer's name was out there, and Freeze didn't feel good about it, and there were people pushing, but he didn't feel good about it, and Brewer wanted security in the form of, hey,
a lot of years.
If it all falls apart, I want a spot in the administration.
That's right.
If I recall correctly.
Yeah, I think that is right.
And Freeze just went, this isn't a good move. And in Hugh's defense, I think he made the right call.
Yeah.
I don't think Matt Luke could sell Gunnar Brewer to the masses.
No.
Now, that hardcore.
He could sell Monken or Sarkisian.
Yeah. The Sarkisian thing is you just have to know that he's okay.
Yeah.
Because
we're talking about a guy that's been a head coach at multiple places. I mean, there's
plenty of watering holes in Oxford. You got to make sure that
it's such a. I mean, everybody
it's
knows. Everybody knows this, but it's such a small town from that aspect of, hey, you better mind all your whatever. But I mean, he was head coach at Washington and USC.
Yeah, it's the Lane Kiffin joke. That's not really a joke when people talk about, well, what if Ole Miss made a move?
Lane Kiffin, Cliff Kingsbury.
Lane Kiffin can't, in a hypothetical world,
if you will.
Yeah, I mean, he goes to Oxford Grill House and sits at the bar talking to a 21-year-old Kappa. That's going to get out. There's going to be photos. It's going to hit the. He wouldn't be able to do it. Is my point. Everybody can make all the jokes in the world, but that's what gets you in bad trouble.
Well, we're not talking anything like that per se, or anything close to that. Not even per se, not at all. But even over after the first couple of years, Andy had to kind of calm down just some of his going out locally that wasn't anything. It was a big deal, just in general.
Yeah, that's one of the funniest parts about the Kennedy stuff. There, the last few years,
he's a good soldier.
He didn't go out much. He really didn't.
He was very careful about how he spent his extracurricular time.
I saw him a couple of times after a game sitting with Kimber in a restaurant having a meal, and that hardly qualifies as going out.
He's got to eat.
I mean, they were having a plate of pasta, for God's sake. It's not all that controversial.
I told you, New Year's Eve, it was a big party. We were all in St. Leo, and it was Freeze was over there, and AK was over there with Kimber. Everybody hanging out in St. Leo that night.
Yeah.
Whatever. Oh, gosh.
So,
anyway, those are the names. I don't know. We'll see.
I was going to say about Brewer, I just don't think you can sell that.
No.
I don't think you can sell that. I think that reeks of good old boy of Ole Miss.
You better be winning like a son of a gun to even try that one, where everybody's so happy that you've got ultimate control to do whatever you want. And you don't have that right now. There is no mandate.
So we haven't talked since my last 10 thoughts, which I was surprised that I wrote, but I wrote them.
You did, Christmas Eve.
And I said in there that from a PR standpoint, this would be an ideal time to come out publicly as an administration and say, this is not a make or break season. This is year one of a rebuild. No matter what, this is our coach. No matter what, barring some scandal or something.
Of course, yeah.
And if you're waiting for the Matt Luke scandal, that's going to be a really long wait.
Yeah.
But barring something unforeseen, this is our guy. And then I said, I don't know that Ole Miss has anybody who can really go to the mat and say that right now.
Well, it's two things. It's one, the Chancellor search is just about to ramp up. They weren't going to do anything before the calendar turned 2019. We're almost 2019. You're starting to see some candidates emerge, but we're really early in that process. Obviously, Robbins wants it. You're hearing Chip Pickering's name a lot. Those are obvious things that we know at this point. So That's the leader of this whole thing, whoever that is, whenever they're hired. And in the meantime, Larry Sparks is doing whatever ability Larry Sparks has, which I'm still not really sure what all he has from a power standpoint.
Well, and I keep hearing from people that don't be surprised if it's this time next year, meaning late December.
It's going to drag.
Don't be surprised if the new chancellor's not named, really not in position until the start of 2020.
Mm-hmm. So we got that going on. So anything below him, who knows from a structure of how much security there is anywhere. And then the other thing, and I mean, people roll their eyes at us, or it's a running joke on this podcast, we hate absolutes. We hate always, never, those type of things. I don't think Ole Miss is at the place to come out and go, this is year one of a rebuild, because there is a scenario where financially I think they'd have a very hard decision to make at the end of 2019. Not saying that's happening, just saying when you look at it and go, what's the worst that could happen on the field? You go, well, that with tickets and everything already going on and being a problem, I just don't think it's the time. As much as I agree with you, I think it's a very hard thing to do from an absolute standpoint when we don't know what's coming in 2019, unless, like you said, unless it doesn't matter, and this is 2 to 3 years. We don't care how bad it is. We understand the roster. We understand that recruiting takes time, and we understand that even if this thing goes 2-10 in the fall, we're still going to find a way to be picking ourselves back up and moving back to the other side of the bell curve. And I don't know that answer. That's where we are, though, and that's if I'm Ross Bjork, that's why I'm going. I got to sell tickets, and if I act like this year doesn't matter, am I hurt even more trying to sell tickets? And I don't know. But that's
the only way. It's the only way that you prevent.
Yeah, you're talking about doing a college version of the rebuilds and the pros when it's, hey, look, we're going to suck. Or it's, hey, no matter what happens, got to just patience. Yeah. And you never hear this in college. This is always a pro thing. In college, it's just always, because there's so much emotion on it.
Exactly.
It's, hey, no, we've got to do it right now. It's right now. And that's it. Versus the NFL, where there are some teams that can go, or the Major League Baseball, where they go, hey,
Cleveland Browns did it this year.
Yeah.
Hey, we're coming. Not there yet. Coming. And everybody's excited. Baseball teams do it all the time. NBA teams do it. The Sixers literally had the process.
Yeah.
We're tanking. And people got emotional and they got pissy, but you understood. And sure enough, you had Joel Embiid.
The problem is that in college, you don't get the number one draft pick.
Right. But if you don't say something, every game becomes, well, was that it? Was that the final straw?
It's 2011.
Was that the final straw?
2011.
And that becomes
I'm not saying it has the same result as 2011, but from a fan base standpoint, it's 2011.
It has the same it becomes self-fulfilling.
Yeah, and this is just, it's one scenario. I mean, it's one of these first 4 games or 5 games or whatever it is, the 2019 season. We'll kind of do a little bit of a preview later, next podcast probably, but of the year in general. But it's one of these first 4 or 5 games are so crazy because, look, Darrell Henderson's going pro. Memphis is going to be vulnerable, but it's losable too. Some good teams have gone to Memphis and lost, 0-3-15.
It's not a gimme.
Cal is a very good defensive team. Now, their offense is awful, just horrid. But defensively, they're good.
They're going to bring a really good defense to Oxford going against – this is the part with the Ole Miss fans that I'm not sure the fans get it, and I start to think we've not done our job.
Mm-hmm. What's that?
I don't think they understand the level of offensive rebuild that has to happen. I mean, they're going to miss some offensive linemen. Not necessarily just Greg Little.
Javon Patterson, Sean Rawlings.
I mean, I don't know that people understand how valuable Sean Rawlings was to Ole Miss the past 3+ seasons. That dude was a rock. Did you notice their offense fall off when Rawlings went out with the ankle injury in the Vanderbilt game? I mean, I don't know if y'all noticed, but go back and look. If you can stomach it.
The offensive line is the one thing where I just scratch my head in trying to predict 2019 because there's a lot of unknown. You're talking about either kicking Givens back over to left tackle and then moving, I guess, Newman to right tackle maybe.
I'll say it to you right now.
Yeah.
Who's the center?
Bryce Matthews or Eli Johnson? It's a guess.
And so if Matthews has to play center, that makes another place weak. Because I think they're counting on him at one of the guard spots or a tackle spot. And then I'll do the exercise, and I'm not – this isn't a gotcha moment because I can't do it either. So let me say that up front. Name a backup offensive line. Name 6 through 10.
Well, you're not getting to 10 at all. You're trying to get to 7, I think, is your goal. And you're talking about, Hall and Cunningham and some of those guys having to play.
Totally unproven dudes.
Yeah, having to play.
That's my point.
Because I don't think any of these 19 kids are ready to play as freshmen. And I was actually going to make this a topic at some point over the next week. I kind of just jotted it down. Ole Miss has had, Dylan and I were talking about this the other day, so many years of knowing that left tackle was just taken care of. Greg Little, Larry McTunzel.
6 straight years.
Emmanuel McCray was pretty good.
Yeah.
Going back, Bradley Sowell, Bobby Massey. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, no.
Over a decade.
Yeah.
Maybe forget 1 year somewhere where
Massey,
left tackle was just taken.
Think about this. Orr, Massey, Sowell, Tunsil are all in the league right now.
Yeah, and Greg will be there in a minute.
And Greg's on his way.
Left tackle, all good.
And I don't know that that's the case
I
now.
think they're going to kick Givens over, but
to my knowledge, he has not publicly made a decision.
No, I
hear he's probably staying.
I know he's having probably a little bit of a difficult decision just because he's had some health stuff, and it's, hey, if I can get out and get moving, do I need to get out and get moving?
Well, the answer to that's yes.
Yeah, of course.
If you can get paid, go get paid.
I don't know I don't know what his evaluation was, so I have no ability to say that. I mean, it's like Justin Herbert, the quarterback at Oregon, announced yesterday he's staying with the Ducks. He must have got a terrible draft grade back.
He had a bad year.
Yeah. They said, no. When
he got passed by Locke, probably by Greer.
Yeah.
Maybe by Kyler Murray. If you're Oakland, you're starting to say to Kyler Murray, hey, look, we had a deal.
And you do have a deal. You have a contractual deal.
Yeah, we gave you some money, so let's stop this football talk.
Yeah. We'll continue in 1 second. First, would appreciate all of you who made Blow Dry Bar Oxford stocking stuffers for the lady in your life. But just keep going, not just for Christmas when you're coming to town for a weekend. If they just need a relaxing afternoon, the Blow Dry Bar Oxford, 662-638-3310. It's 1801 Jackson Avenue, 10 to 6, Tuesday through Friday. Also Saturday, 10 to 3. Get the blowout. Tell them that rebelgrove.com or the podcast sent you. You get a discount when you go by as well. So, again, the ladies know what we're talking about. The men, just make them happy. Get that gift certificate now with Blow Dry Bar Oxford.
Guests, join us on the Patterson and Earhart hotline. Patterson and Earhart, attorneys at law, specialize in personal injury law, real estate law, but theirs is a general practice that can handle any of your legal needs. So when you contact Patterson and Earhart, you speak directly to one of the partners in the firm, and that's who'll handle your case, not some paralegal at a faceless corporate firm. If Patterson and Earhart can't help you, they'll refer you to someone who can. John Calvin Patterson and Wes Earhart are Ole Miss guys. They're local guys, and when you call them, you're going to get one of them on the phone within the same day, guaranteed. So whether you've been injured in a car wreck or have other legal issues, give them a call, 662-526-1992, or check out their website, PElaws.com. Your initial consultation's free. We're also brought to you by Home 2 Suites in Oxford, South Lamar Court. They're open and ready to accommodate your personal or business needs here during the holiday season and beyond. Located at 101 South Lamar Court in Oxford at the intersection of Belt Boulevard and South Lamar Avenue, this Hilton property is locally owned and operated by Ole Miss alumni. It's just 1 mile from campus, 1.5 miles from the square. Each spacious suite has a living area with a sleeper sofa, and a fully equipped kitchen. Guests have access to a complimentary breakfast each morning with more than 400 combinations to suit any palate, a fully equipped fitness center, a free laundry facility, free Wi-Fi, free parking, and much more. For more information, call 662-238-3400 or check them out on the web. It's home2oxford.home2suitesbyhilton.com. Also brought to you by Dead Soxy. I know a lot of you used Dead Soxy for some of your Christmas gifting. Seen a lot of the reviews on the message board. Really appreciate that. Right now, let me make sure Michael Roberts texted me last night. I'm going to make sure I got this right because I might have perhaps, possibly, maybe have had a couple of drinks at the time. 25% off all items, including sales items, with the code Rebel Grove right now at Dead Soxy. So go to deadsoxy.com, DEADSOXY. Enter code Rebel Grove at checkout. 25% off all items, including sales items. My post-game columns. This podcast is sponsored by Pinnacle Trust. Pinnacle Trust is based in Madison, Mississippi, but it represents clients in 24 states, has advisors in 3 states. Pinnacle Trust provides detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much more. At Pinnacle Trust, investing is treated like a commodity. Decisions are made using objective information and research, not emotions. Regardless of your level of wealth, I've seen this with my own 2 eyes. Regardless of your level of wealth, Pinnacle Trust sits down with you. They listen to your goals. They study your expenses. They put forth a comprehensive, detailed financial and retirement plan that's just for you. It's not some base plan that you fit into. It's a plan that's just for you. You should check it out. PinTrust.com, PINN Trust.com. Mention you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the podcast. You'll get 10% off your first year's fee.
Also, lastly, don't waste your time with the big chains. Go somewhere where you're appreciated. G&M Pharmacy, locally owned and operated. They care about their customers. Oxford trusted hometown pharmacy for over 40 years and offer many great services such as MedSync, immunizations, and free delivery to your home or workplace. They're there on South Lamar Boulevard, and transferring your medications is simple. I've done it here in the last couple weeks. Give them a call, 662-236-2222, and they handle the rest. So
we're about to do that.
Are you?
Yep.
Yeah, I picked up my last prescription at Walgreens. Fittingly, it took longer than expected. We had a little bit of a back and forth, and that was it. Used G&M. I had gone in and just bought some stuff kind of over the counter and whatever, but used them first for prescription. The day that we left, we went to Kentucky Friday to Sunday, just a quick trip to see Kara's family, and she had to go to urgent care at 8 a.m. that morning. Got out. They got their prescriptions. We were able to get on the road by 10, already having them in pocket. So it moved quite well that first morning. So it's been a busy Christmas, but everything kind of settling down now. Got 1 or 2 more things, and then that'll be that. So you've got brothers in town. You've got family.
My brothers are in town. They got in yesterday. They'll be here till early Saturday. And then I'm covering Ole Miss basketball Saturday afternoon at
Florida
1.
Gulf Coast.
Florida Gulf Coast. And then I'm going to go to Memphis on Sunday for the big Mizzou party.
Still don't understand, but sure.
Andy Armand. And Jay's going to be there too, so basically another excuse to have a party. And then that's going to be the end of my holiday party.
Florida Gulf Coast was the Dunk City team in the NCAA tournament a few years ago.
That's correct.
Yeah, they're in Fort Myers or Estero or whatever it is down there.
Yeah.
The more you know. Are they any good?
Huh?
They any good?
I have no idea.
You don't know? That closes out non-con play for, or at least before the Iowa State game for Ole Miss prior to league play, by the way. Closes
out the non-SEC portion of the schedule. They'll play Iowa State in
the non-Power 5 portion of the schedule.
There you go.
That we can phrase it that way. Although Power 5 is not really indicative of college basketball, but
so they're going to go 10-2 in the non-league.
You give them a win.
Yeah. Okay. They'll go 10-2 in the non-league with the Iowa State game coming later in January.
Yeah.
And away they go. And
you had them at 10-2.
I did. I missed the way they got it, but
the one game you had them losing to Baylor and then beating George Mason instead of beating Baylor then losing Cincinnati. The way they did it is a better way to do it.
Yeah.
Gave them a win.
Lenardi has them as one of the last 4 in right now. Now, Lenardi will tell you that, hey, I'm doing this because it's the only job that I have, and my bosses want clicks.
Yeah.
So here's a bracket. If you take this seriously, that's on you. But what you can take from it, and I think I wrote this in 10 Thoughts, I really don't remember. What you can take from it is they've put themselves in position. Now they got to go win games.
Of course.
So that's good. They've put themselves in position. Now you got to go win games, and that's the hard part. and it starts out brutally
make
hard.
This thing over, or where you look up and go, whoa, this is real. Either way, after 3 games.
They go to Vanderbilt a week from Saturday. It's January the 5th.
Got a national home game against Auburn. ESPN2 picked it up.
Yep.
And then at Mississippi State, very, very tough game.
And the first, I think that state game's the 12th or the 13th. I don't know, one of those.
So 8 days or so.
Yeah, in roughly an 8-day period, you play 3 SEC games, and if you look up and you're 0-3, it's probably going to be really hard. If you look up and you're 1-2, it's going to be hard. If you look up and you're 2-1, whoa, story changer.
Yeah. At 1-2, it's, we kind of sort of held serve. Now you better go win a bunch of games. Got to go win a bunch of games.
Got to win a bunch of games, and probably in that scenario have to beat Iowa State.
Yeah. You have to get that extra win right there that's going to be needed, because that's just the way it is. Because we're talking about 10-8 minimum here in the league.
Yeah, there's 19 games after Florida Gulf Coast, and I think 11 have to be
11
wins.
and 8 is the number.
I do.
Okay.
Because there are going to be some really good RPI games.
Yeah.
I talked about this in the 10 Thoughts, I think. There's really only one team in the league that's sucking.
South Carolina sucks.
They suck. Everybody else is kind of okay. Texas A&M is underachieved, but they're okay. Nobody's horrible, and there's a bunch of teams that are really good.
Kentucky woke up a little. They beat North Carolina.
Oh, look, they're going to be fine. Their RPI is really good. They're going to be fine. Florida's going to make the tournament. Tennessee's an elite team. Auburn's an elite team. Alabama's good. They have some nice wins.
State's good.
State's really good. State has a very nice win against Cincy. State.
Vanderbilt even beat Arizona State the other night.
State would be a 4 seed right now.
Yeah, that's about right.
Tennessee would be a 1. Mm-hmm. Auburn would be a 2 or a 3. LSU would be a 5-ish kind of a seed.
They played that well?
They've played well.
Okay.
And they've played a really good schedule. Ole Miss would be an 8-9 sort of seed right now. So would probably Vanderbilt. I mean, the league's really good. There's a lot of good games. It starts at that first one in Nashville, and you hate to go
huge game off the top. I mean,
you hate to call a game in Nashville in early January a must-win game, and so I won't.
But it's hard to get there without it, is the thing.
But it's as close to a must-win as you can have without it being a must-win. If your goal is the NCAA tournament,
it's fair. No problem with that. Did you see my photo where there was the North Dakota shirt hanging out on Twitter?
I did. I saw that. It's kind of a cool shirt.
I feel like that was I was in a bit of a mood because there was some false advertising going on. We'd been in the house for like 2 days straight. Hadn't gone anywhere. Everybody getting a little stir crazy when you got the 2-year-old in the house that long, and she's playing with all the toys and stuff. But it's time to move. And I don't know how this happened, but I had 7 light bulbs go out in my house basically at one time. I mean, obviously, you put them all in at the same time, they stay on, whatever. But 7 lights went out.
Okay.
Said, okay, probably need some light bulbs. Need to get some stuff done here. Need to go to the bank because it's closed the day before. Just some stuff.
Yeah.
So she goes, look, I got to get out of the house. Let's all just go do it. Fine, whatever. So, okay, fine. So I'm thinking bank, light bulbs, Home Depot. She pulls into Walmart yesterday. Almost just jumped out into traffic instead of taking the turn into the parking lot. Day after Christmas, Walmart.
What was she thinking?
She said she needed more tubs to put some Christmas stuff in. Thought, well, Home Depot probably has tubs. I'm just guessing. Anywhere else has tubs. Go to Ace. I don't care where you go. Not there. Ended up at Walmart at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
That's grounds for
day
divorce.
After Christmas yesterday.
You could have filed right there.
Could have filed right there.
Absolutely.
A lawyer would have taken that and gone, okay.
And a male judge would have been done. You get everything.
So I'm kind of just wandering around, entertaining myself. And I am curious how this happens. It was a rack of Ole Miss shirts, as would be normal. And right in the middle was a University of North Dakota shirt. Women's shirt, gray with just like green North Dakotas all the way down it. Mm-hmm. And then the little hawk, I think, the little emblem, the logo right there on the thing. Because that was the school that used to be the Fighting Sioux, and they had to change their mascot.
Okay.
Because North Dakota State's the really good football team. It's the Bison.
Right.
So it's North Dakota. They were the Sioux, and now they are the Hawks or the Eagles or some crap.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, it's a little bird. I don't know. Whatever. Even though, Chattanooga is the Mocs now, which is a mockingbird, even though they used to be the shoe or the snake or something, But, Chattanooga's mascot now is that little mockingbird.
I did not know that.
Yeah, they had to. I guess they got away from all the Indian connotations. So they're still the Mocs, but it's a mockingbird now.
So instead of the MOCS now, they're MOCKS?
I think they're still MOCS.
Well, that's them just giving you a big middle finger. Like, we're not changing.
Well, they have a bird now. You didn't know this?
No, I did not.
Yeah, while we're talking, But again, how does this happen? It's Oxford. Like, did somebody literally put a wrong item number in? What happens? And then you go, well, we got them. Let's hang them up. North Dakota.
Were they regular priced, or did they mark them down? Hey, we got to move them.
You're beyond me there. I don't know.
I mean, I could see Mississippi State, maybe even some Alabama stuff, because there's a lot of Alabama people
whatever.
in Oxford.
That's fine.
But that's the weirdest fandom in North Mississippi.
What's that?
People who don't go to college, they cheer for for Alabama.
Yeah, sidewalk fans. They have more than anybody else in the country.
And they're everywhere, not just in Alabama, is my point.
Yeah.
Lots of that on the Redneck Riviera, like workers and stuff. I'm not making fun of anybody. Just people that don't go to college. Just a lot of blue-collar Alabama fans. I guess it's the winning. I don't know.
Their Chattanooga's mascot is called Scrappy. I'm seeing
Scrappy the Mockingbird.
Yeah, he's a bird. He's a bird.
Yeah, he looks more like an eagle.
He's a bird.
Yeah, good for him.
That's all I got. Okay.
They have first beak before each game? Nope.
Is that bothering you still?
I've been pleased at the number of people who have come to me and said thank you for saying it because it bothers them too.
I just think it's a widespread bother.
One person told me, I saw an Ole Miss person in Washington, D.C. No, it was not Hogan. It was someone I just ran into. Sure. No, I swear, not Hogan. I swear it wasn't Hogan. Who said, because Hogan doesn't go to the games. Hogan's busy. He's going to Army and Navy on Air Force One and stuff. But I saw he said, yeah, I used to love going to the games early, and I won't go early now because that bothers me. I'll wait till that's done.
All right, got a little answer for you here, and something that you probably didn't expect on today's podcast. Why Mocs? I'm reading from Chattanooga's site. Faced with politically sensitive issues and in need of a stronger core identity to help establish a strong brand as Chattanooga's team, the athletics department embarked on a comprehensive identity program, and a new direction for the athletics identity was determined, moving away from the politically incorrect Native American imagery. Several identities have been used. With the old nickname moccasins, a snake was used in the 1920s, and an Indian was used until the major change in 1996. A moccasin shoe was also used at one point in the 1980s. However, now to adopt the state bird of Tennessee, the mockingbird, is the core of the new identity while incorporating a strong regional imagery of Chattanooga's past railroad history. The name Scrappy was born, and a new emphasis was placed on the athletics department's role in the region. Scrappy, the mock.
Okay.
You good?
Good enough.
I mean, it's fine.
They made it make sense.
Yeah. Pick the state bird, got lucky that it was MOC. They could still...
Yeah.
So somebody walked in the room and goes, look, got a little bit of a break here, guys.
Remember when we bought those white uniforms that say Mocs across them?
Yeah.
Those were expensive.
We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, well, the Mockingbird doesn't really... go with it.
Yeah.
Go with it. All right. We're an FCS team. You got to make do what you can.
Don't overthink this.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know, but like somebody messaged me on Twitter and said in the Jackson Target for some reason, amongst all the Ole Miss stuff, there's University of Minnesota crap everywhere. And it's
so they hit the wrong number on the order.
You think that's what happened?
Had to be. Mississippi, Minnesota,
North Dakota.
Yeah, if you told me they were trying to order Mississippi State and hit the wrong number, I'd buy it.
And said, okay, we're just going to run them anyway. Send them back. Last time I checked, Walmart's a pretty big company. Send them to Sioux Falls.
Well, like I don't want to call out the company because I ordered a bunch of stuff for Carson and one of the orders was shipped wrong. And it was like, I like it. We'll just keep it.
Oh, you kept it?
Yeah, because sending it back and all that stuff takes so much time.
Obviously, barring anything unexpected. I mean, I just mean in general. This was at least your last Christmas for everybody in this situations of their life. A little more sentimental, a little more emotional this time.
I don't know, not really. I've thought about this a lot because obviously this time next year, assuming everything goes according to plan, she'll be coming home for Christmas after being in college, and it'll be different, of course, but I don't know. She's really excited. So I'm excited for her. You and I've talked about this before. I don't like it when people go, gosh, I just hate to see them grow up. Well, I don't hate to see them grow up because the alternative to them growing up is awful. So no, I'm cool with it. She's excited. She's fired up. She's kind of ready and all of that stuff. So no, I mean, life changes. It'll be different, but it's okay. I think the emotional one will be when they're all gone.
Yeah, it's empty nest all of a sudden.
Yeah, then it's like, okay, well, what the hell do we do now? But I don't know that, frankly, I mean, Campbell works 2 jobs, and she has a very active social life.
You're not seeing her all the time anyway.
Yeah, I don't know really how much day-to-day life is going to change that much. Caroline will be driving in March. So I don't really, I mean, I'll still have shuffle Carson around and all that stuff. So I don't know really that life changes that much other than we won't see her each day, which will obviously be a adjustment.
What was Carson's present this year for the 10, 11-year-old?
Cubs convention.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, okay, gotcha.
We're going to that in January. He's still holding out hope. John Heyman fed that hope yesterday a good bit in ways that I kind of...
We have to take the internet away from that kid.
Kind of wish John Heyman hadn't done. We dissected the John Heyman report last night pretty thoroughly.
He's kind of all in.
Yeah, well, and now there's the report that the Cubs and the Giants are talking about a Jason Hayward trade, which would obviously create an opening in right field, and a certain free agent plays right field. And, yeah, the one thing I'll say about the convention that will be good is that Carson probably will find other like-minded Cub fans who are far more Cub fan than you think. I'm a big Cub fan. I'm nothing compared to some of those people. And
some of these people are bordering on issues.
Oh, there's not bordering. They have issues. And he'll be able to converse with them and really dissect all of the rumors, and I'll just sit back and whatever.
So you'll be on the lower end of the spectrum at the convention.
Oh, I'm not even. I'm almost not on the spectrum. Last year, the convention was good for me because it showed me that I'm not as weird as I thought I was. I'm more normal than I give myself credit.
You're the guy that goes to Comic-Con and doesn't dress up.
Yeah.
You might have a little face paint on or something,
Yeah.
but you're not Willy Wonka walking through the lobby.
I mean, someone goes, "Hey, you probably ought to put on a T-shirt." All right, well, give me one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not the guy going to the convention decked out in the Cubs gear, Cubs uniform. There were cats in uniform.
It's the
The pants and all.
You could make that happen if you wanted to.
No, I'm not interested.
You could.
I could, but I won't.
You should.
I won't.
Think it'd fit.
A pair of baseball pants?
Yeah, you think get in some?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
But let's not.
All right, just curious.
Yeah, I'd fit in a pair of baseball pants. I mean,
I know you can find some. I mean, if David Wells can get in them, you can probably get in them.
Yeah,
Just saying.
there you go.
Cecil Fielder.
I'm not that big.
No, you're not. You're kind of like you think you're that big sometimes in your head, probably.
Oh, in my head, I'm obese, but in reality, I could fit into a pair of baseball pants.
Yeah. Get a chance with Visit Oxford to win some basketball stuff. Head on over to visitoxfordms.com. I retweeted it yesterday. You can find them on Twitter. You can see it off my Twitter as well. One lucky fan will win 4 tickets to the Ole Miss Arkansas game. That's January 19th. 4 Ole Miss pullovers, a one-night stay at the Courtyard by Marriott, 2 Hotel Hop event tickets, a $100 gift certificate to Brick and Spoon, that's for breakfast, a meal for 4 at Oxford Burger Company, a meal for 4 at Bure, and an Oxford swag bag. You all you got to do is fill out the information there on the website, hit submit, and you'll be entered to win all those things. You can see the full calendar events and the pop-up Oxford details coming late January. Again, that's visit oxfordms.com.
Podcast also brought to you by the West in Jackson. Check out Estelle Wine Bar and Bistro. Chase and I have both been there on numerous occasions. I've never had anything resembling a bad meal. In fact, every meal I've had there has been fantastic. Sip on a creative craft cocktail. Enjoy their curated wine list. It's open for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch. Chef Caden's mission is to connect guests with the community through local partnerships. So gather at Estelle tonight. The podcast also brought to you in part by John Edwards of Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. If you've been thinking about that golf trip with the guys or an anniversary trip, you've been dreaming of playing at St. Andrews or sitting at a cafe in Paris, get in touch with John before you try to do it by yourself. John is a part of Virtuoso. It's a worldwide network of travel partners that allows him to supply his clients with added values and unique benefits that are simply not available to other travelers. He traveled the globe for 37 years before getting into the travel business, so he knows the extra attention that's needed to make a special trip one that creates a lifetime of unique memories. I was talking to John the other day, and we were just kind of talking about some of the calls that he's gotten. And really, those of you who've taken advantage of it, you're doing it the right way. Call him. Give him some parameters. Here's kind of where I'm thinking about going, what I want to do. This is my budget. This is how long I'm willing to go. This is when I'm willing to go. And then just sit back. Get off the internet. Pour yourself a cup of coffee. He's going to do all the searching for you. He'll give you some options, and you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. Call him at 901-494-3387 or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. Also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. Grenada Nissan located just off Interstate 55 in Grenada, Mississippi. Grenada Nissan has a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. Go in, tell Gene and Sandy that you heard about Grenada Nissan on the podcast or at rebelgrove.com, and they're going to take extra care of you. Their service is terrific. If they don't have what you're looking for, they'll get it. So check out their website, GrenadaNissanUSA.com, and then go in and you'll enjoy your visit to Grenada Nissan.
We'll tell you that even though Christmas is done, if you've got some cash on hand, if you want to get one more thing for the kids, let MasterCuts help you make a custom playground that will entertain your kids for years to come. From simple forts to princess castles, pirate ships, and much more, MasterCuts can build a base for your child's imagination to run wild. So reach out and schedule a free meeting to see what MasterCuts can build for you. 662-607-7773 or info at gomastercuts.com. So the coaches' convention is coming up here in a week or so. Probably be some more movement after that. They've obviously got to fill the Maurice Harris spot. They've got to fill the OC spot, and then they will go from there. We'll see if any other changes do come to fruition as things move forward. But other than one basketball game, probably done from a 2018 standpoint of news, I would expect. Looking back, what's 2 or 3 things that stick on your mind from the year? Obviously, Andy Kennedy being done was this year.
Yeah.
Kind of seems a little weird now because it seems like forever ago.
I know
that
it does.
was this year.
Andy being done.
The baseball Tennessee team.
Yeah, well, just the juxtaposition of them
being so good and then that.
Winning the SEC tournament the way that they did, where they
won
just
the
kind
SEC West,
of cruised through it.
Won the division that included the team that should have won the national title if they just called a pop-up.
Well, you know that haunts them still.
I can't imagine. I mean, I seriously, I feel for Dave Van Horn because I really like Dave Van Horn for what I know about him and my very small dealings with him. But if you're a diehard Arkansas fan, I don't know how you think Ole Miss is going to go on opening day and feel like it's kind of meaningless? If you're Arkansas, unless you win it,
literally the ball's in the air.
All the dude had to do was get away from it. One dude just had to stop moving, and the game is over, and you are the national champions.
If the right fielder's a junior, they're the national champs.
Just doesn't move. Yeah.
Just
go get the ball.
He's going, got it.
Yeah.
And, you're taught if you're an infielder and the outfielder says, got it, you peel off.
Yeah.
And they're national champs. And instead, it's foul. They lose. Oh, brutal.
I can't.
It's worse than the Bartman game because at least the Bartman game was a foul ball. And I know this was a foul ball, but it was in the stands.
Yeah, this was
This was
can of corn. Those kids have made that play 1,000 times.
Oh, yeah. You practiced that play.
That's the play where the pitcher starts walking off the mound toward the dugout.
Yeah. Oh, they had a moment in that dugout, 2 seconds or so. We're the national champs. We won the whole thing.
And
so that comes to mind. The football season to me was so non-eventful that
I'd say what's going to stick. I mean, there's one or two things from every season that will always kind of stick for me a little bit. And some of this is injuries. Some of this is a lot of different stuff. Some of this is just because the team had no depth and got tired. I mean, they weren't very good. But in 5 years, when you go, hey, that 18 season, what sticks in your mind? That they played their best game first. That they looked very organized.
Yeah.
Played hard. They played hard all season, but played hard in an organized way. Looked fairly dynamic at times, and they did defensively what you knew they had to do to be any semblance of successful, which was, hey, let's get off the field a little on third down. Let's make these kind of plays. Let's be in the right places. They looked like they were in the right place so much more against Texas Tech than anybody else, and I just don't remember a season where they play a game in week 1 and you never see that team again the rest of the way.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think that's what I'd go with.
The very next week, they're down to Southern Illinois at halftime. In just 1 week.
The only other thing I remember about it, and I guess because we talked about it so much, was people during the week of the Arkansas game going, it's must win, it's must win, it's must win. And I was like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
And then it turns out that it wasn't. They won, and there was no real momentum from it. Even on the game that they won, that everybody goes, they must win. They lost DK Metcalf for the season in that game.
And in the game, I'll remember, just because I was down there during the end, during all the nutty stuff, is we'll probably talk about the Vanderbilt overtime catch stuff moving forward a good bit. Especially under the context of, A.J. Brown, who we have celebrated as would be on our Mount Rushmore and all these things. Finished his career never going to a bowl game. His highlight moment of the year, frankly, was a non-catch. Just kind of a weird final season for AJ.
Yeah,
he was good, but just weird.
I've kind of started playing with my last 10 thoughts of the year, which is usually a countdown of things that I remember, and that's on there. As the subtext to it, though, is I don't know that. Let's say that they call that a touchdown. That doesn't win the game. It prolongs the game. Who knows who would have won the game? Let's say that they win the game. I don't know if that really does it really change anything.
No, not at all. Big picture.
I'm not sure it changes anything. Big picture. Does that save Phil Longo's job?
Gets you to. No, it helps from just and this is so small, but from especially the way the state game went. But it just helps from a small. Well, he got 6-6 again.
Might take some of the heat off of next year.
Got to 6-6. Didn't lose 5 in a row to end the year. The team was 5-2 at one point.
I get concerned a little bit from a coverage standpoint about next season if it goes the way I sort of anticipate it going, where people are like, I want to know what's going to happen, and our answer is going to be, I don't know, and I'm not sure who to ask.
Well, and I don't think anyone knows right now.
Right.
It's 12 games. You're going to have to play most of them before you know, either way. Because, there could be a circumstance where the beginning goes to heck in a handbasket. There could be a circumstance where they're hot as a firecracker early, win those games, and still lose 5 of the last 6 or 4 out of the last 5 because of the way the schedule sets up. Or they could look like that team where all of a sudden at the end they kind of play LSU really well and they play so-and-so really well, and you look up and go, well, crap, they sort of look like that 12 team that we always talk about of, hey, get us now because we're better. I don't know. We'll see.
I do think it's a season, if you're judging it, it's going to be a season that you judge on the way that they look, not the result. And that's hard for people. And
It's
I
in
get
the middle. I mean, it's for all purposes, it's year 3. Results have to matter to some extent. To some extent. Not saying it's the ultimate decider, but, I mean, you're not going to be able to sell a deal where they go 4-8 and you go, well, you know, they look pretty good in those 4 losses. I don't know.
If you had to bet on a record right now today, I'll put you on the spot. And we'll do it more comprehensively later. If you had to bet on a record,
If you told me to miss one way or the other,
okay,
I'd say 4-8. I'd probably predict 5-7.
I think I'm right there with you.
Because I don't. Here's the problem I have with this. I mean, again, we'll do this 7,000 times prior to August.
At least.
Yeah. We always talk about worst case, best case. My problem with them on picking records is when you start looking at best case. Usually, I mean, especially with the pretty good Ole Miss teams in the recent past, well, we go, well, best case 10-2, 11-1. I mean, they could do this, or at least 8-4, 9-3.
Right.
My problem with this team is when I go best case, it's 7-5. And when 7-5 is my best case, I have problems because in a world of 7-5, I'm talking Memphis, Cal, the 2 gimmies, Southeastern and New Mexico,
right,
and then Arkansas, Vanderbilt, and 1 more.
Yeah,
That's 7.
Even in the best case, you're searching for the 7th.
Yeah, I don't know who that 1 more is. I'm just giving them 1 more for the heck of it. Maybe it's at Missouri, per se.
See, I think they're actually going to be one of the better teams Ole Miss plays.
But I got to pick it somewhere. So
right.
LSU maybe. Okay, well that's hard. You know what I mean? It's weird. So I'd go 7-5 as best case, and we've never had, especially during the better years, 7-5 being the best case.
So when you do worst case,
it's 2-10.
It's 2-10.
Yeah.
And so you meet in the middle, and meeting in the middle is 4 or 5. That's where I go every time I try to do it. And so I don't know how you sell 4-8, for example. The problem with 4-8 even is that the end is so many L's in a row.
It's a lot like when there was some pressure on Cutcliffe back in the day, as he would start 5-1 and then end up going 6-5 because of the way the finishes went a couple of those years.
And the way the schedule sets up, they've got that November home game against New Mexico State.
Yeah.
Where people are fed up, tuned out, checked out. And then that crowd becomes a loss in and of itself. So I don't know. It's a real challenging year. I'll tell you this: it's a coaching staff that has its hands full, and they're not going to be a deep team. They have to be careful with fall camp, and they'll have to be careful with. It's as important a year for Paul Jackson as he's ever had as a strength and conditioning coach. He's got to get a team ready to go. He's got to get young offensive linemen ready to hold up.
Got to manage that fine line.
Yeah,
as well as you manage one.
It's a pivotal offseason. I've said that all along.
Because they're thin still, it almost runs kind of like the way a baseball strength and conditioning program would be. Is, hey, we gotta get them ready. We got to prepare them for the marathon. The repetition here is, it's not the sprint. These guys got to stay in pretty good shape for 15 weeks.
Yeah, like you can't get out there and bash skulls in March and have a couple of knee blowouts where those guys can't go through an offseason.
And they're not, because it's going to be installs on both sides of the field.
Right.
Both sides of the balls are doing installs in spring.
Which will give them
a new offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator.
And I wish you could see me do this, quote, excuse, because some fans want to read that, we really got physical this spring. That'll give them an excuse not to be super physical.
Yeah. Look, guys, there's 2 systems that have to be in place here.
Yeah. It's a tough deal. Hands full. I'll tell you this, if he wins 6 or 7 next year, that's your SEC Coach of the Year. Wins 6 or 7 in the face of what they're got coming up. Not just schedule, but the pressure and all that stuff. Young quarterback. Got to get another young quarterback ready as a backup. Because I think we're probably talking about Tisdale or Dent as the backup quarterback. And Ole Miss has needed a backup quarterback the last couple of years.
Yeah, you can't explain away and go, hey, don't worry about it. We're all good.
Yeah.
I mean,
all right, Corral, you're the guy. 12 games.
And hey, by the way, you're pretty good when you start running and moving your feet.
You got to get a backup ready. And that backup's going to be a kid who was playing high school ball a year earlier. That's hard. Difficult assignment.
I'd almost pulled in a JUCO kid just for the heck of it, just to give a little more age to that room.
Would have been tempting.
I always hate the, hey, you don't go get a body just to get a body, but this might be the one instance I go get a body.
Would have been real tempting to get an older kid who's taken some snaps.
Essentially what they thought they had with Tamu, and he just ended up being a much better guy than they thought they had at the time.
Boy, you talk about one that turned out to be fortuitous. Can you imagine?
They've gone 3 for 3 in JUCO quarterback transfers. Almost ungodly.
And no one does that.
No, Wallace, Kelly, Tamu.
And Tamu was kind of a last-minute deal.
Longo liked him, had to kind of convince some people, brought him in late.
Was it Longo or Werner?
Was it Werner?
I thought Werner signed.
I don't remember.
I can't either.
Yeah, whatever.
But they bring
Credit to whichever one of you.
They bring him in thinking he's just insurance for Shea Patterson. And turns out he was pretty good. If he's not an SEC caliber player, that's a disaster. It's a total disaster.
Yeah, 3 for 3 on JUCO quarterbacks.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's the crazy part is they've actually had JUCO luck. Like, they're due some bad JUCO luck.
Scotty Phillips, SEC running back.
The Tisdale was good.
Yeah, it was.
Tarikas.
Yeah. I finally spell it correctly every time now.
My computer wanted to fix it so many times that.
Really?
Yeah.
I've had to go in a lot of times and make the Word document replace with the correct one because, I mean, it took 3 years for it to realize that Brady Bramlett was not Brady Bracelet. It chased Bramlett to Bracelet every time. I get so pissed off, and you put it in, and there you went. But
my computer does not like Dominic Olenichik's name.
Is it not?
Does not like his name.
You really ought to set one of those replacing where you just have to type like OLY or something, and it puts in Olenichik.
That's a thought.
It saves you time. Just moves on.
It no longer corrects it. It has.
Oh, really?
It has learned that no, that's the way he means to spell it.
There you go. Podcast brought to you in part by Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. Underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. You're getting local underwriting and understands your market, a leader in condo financing and the float down option. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLO, that's JLOWE, at communitymtg.com.
Podcast also brought to you by Harry Alexander. Harry is the sponsor of my 10 Weekend Thoughts. He is also an Oxford-based RE/MAX Legacy Realty agent. Harry's been in Oxford, 45 years or so. No one knows the residential and condo market in Oxford better than he does. Go to his site. He'll prove it to you. It's harryalexander.com. Click on the Properties and Neighborhoods tab. Filter through by what you are looking for. And then I'll send him an email ha@harryalexander.com. Podcast also brought to you by Oxford University Bank. OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB gives you the comfort of home, all the benefits the big mega banks provide, all the technology and products you can want, all with the personal touch. When you call OUB, you speak directly with the live person without having to press 10 buttons, without a 5-minute wait. OUB offers its customers the absolute best cash checking account. It's called Kasasa, and with Kasasa, OUB will pay customers 2.5% interest on their balances up to $50,000. And with Kasasa, ATM fees nationwide are refunded. OUB also offers online bill pay and mobile check deposit using its online app. To learn more about OUB, check out liveoxfordbankoxford.com or call 662-234-6668. OUB is FDIC insured.
All right, let's do this. Got last segment here. I want to give some thanks in a minute, and we'll kind of go through some SEC teams. Kind of curious. Okay, so this is December 27th. Is that right?
That's correct.
All right. Teams or stock markets, you buying or selling? We'll go through the SEC teams, football.
Okay.
For the year.
This
Ready?
is Going in the next season?
Yeah, right, for 2019.
Okay.
And where you think they are right now, and then would you buy or sell given in the next season? The University of Florida.
Oh, I'd buy.
Buy. I like what's going on there with Mullen. I think they're going to get better and better. They're going to be it might take a couple, but I think they're going to at least be a nuisance to Georgia moving forward.
Agreed.
They're not Georgia, but they'll be a nuisance.
Agreed.
They might be Auburn to Alabama, kind of to Georgia.
Okay.
Can screw with them a little bit.
Okay.
University of Georgia.
Oh, I'm buying.
Still buying, all good, still rolling.
All in.
Okay. University of Kentucky. I'm selling.
Yeah, I'm selling.
Falling back down.
I think they peaked. Had a nice.
They'll be a nice 6-6 program, 7-5, fine. But Benny Snell's gone. They're not going to replace him that easily.
Whoever he goes to, there's going to be a lot of that NFL jersey in Lexington the next few years.
He was the dude. The University of Missouri.
I'm buying.
Post Drew Lock, you're buying.
Yeah, they're going to be, well, maybe not long term.
I mean, just for 19. One season.
Absolutely buying.
You like Kelly Bryant?
They're going to fall off at quarterback, but the quarterback fall off isn't going to be so drastic, and they are going to get better at virtually every other spot. They don't lose much.
University of South Carolina. I kind of just stay with what I had, but it wouldn't be a blood in the streets or a need to go sell either. It would just kind of be a okay.
If you told me that I couldn't stay stagnant, I'd sell.
Yeah. I don't see an upside there. So, yes.
Well, I'm afraid Missouri is taking their spot.
Is that number 3 team in the division?
Well, I think Tennessee's getting better, so we're going to touch on that.
Go into them now, Tennessee. You've got to buy them for 1 year, right?
Yeah, they're going to be better.
He's done a nice job. I really want to make fun of him, but he's done a nice job there.
Yeah.
Just year 1, but not a nice job. We'll see. And then Vanderbilt, I'm selling everything I have.
Yeah, just get rid of it.
Fire sale.
Yeah.
I want nothing to do with Vanderbilt University.
I've called my broker. I don't want any of that stock on my next portfolio, and if it is, I'm firing you.
I think Derek Mason's fired at the end of 2019, and this is over.
Yes.
No one got fired in the SEC. There's going to be changes next year. That does not happen 2 years in a row.
Now, you talk about must-win games. If you're an Ole Miss fan, Vanderbilt at home next year is a must-win game. The end. Y'all want must-win games?
Yeah.
There you go. The people that want, I got this game's got to be a must-win. Okay, there's one. That's a must-win.
I'll be honest, from a morale standpoint, unless you tell me they're going on a roll, I think at Memphis is a must-win in the opener.
Wow.
No Darrell Henderson. It's a lot of changes to that Memphis lineup. I think the first game's a must-win.
Okay.
I think the only way it's not is if you tell me, well, they're going to beat Arkansas, they're going to beat Cal, they're going to beat Vanderbilt. And I go, okay, fine, that's cool. They're 4 and whatever, and that's cool.
If a little birdie came down and said, you're making a good point. If a birdie came down and said, I'll give you the outcome of 2 games next season, which 2 do you pick?
Memphis and Arkansas, first 2.
I think I'd say Memphis and Arkansas.
How do
and if
you
they
start?
told me I had a third one, I'd say Vanderbilt.
I'd say Vanderbilt or Cal, but yeah, it's fine.
Because if they lose to Vanderbilt, the reason you could lose to Cal and still be okay. You lose to Vanderbilt and it's a disaster.
Yeah. Alabama, whatever.
Buying.
Yeah, sure. Not selling it. I know that.
Shit, no. I mean, excuse me, no.
Arkansas.
Buying.
Can't get any worse, and I've got it so low.
Yeah, well, they're 2-10. Are they going to be better than if that's the standard? Hey, Neil, do you think Arkansas is going to be better than 2-10 next year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Auburn.
Selling
Auburn.
all of it.
LSU.
Gosh, dog. Probably selling.
It's the South Carolina version. I'd be fine just hanging in where I'm at. But
If that was my option, I'd take that. But if you told me I had to buy or sell, probably selling.
I got to think on that one. We'll get to it in a second. I'll finish the sentence. I am selling Ole Miss and State.
Yes.
Both of them. And then the reason that I'm curious, I actually kind of would buy LSU, but I think A&M is definitely taking their place over time.
I want that stock.
That's my problem there is I think A&M is moving into that next tier.
I want that stock. And I think Arkansas is better coached than LSU.
Okay. Do you?
Yeah. I mean, if you told me that Arkansas went 5-7 or 4-8 next season, I'm not surprised. That's a jump. If you told me that LSU takes a 2-game spiral, I'm not surprised. If you told me LSU took a 2-game spiral upward, I'm surprised.
I really want to know the outcome of that Oregon-Auburn game to kick off 2019.
Well, if it's Ducks, it's night-night.
Over.
Yes. Literally could end.
After the opener.
Oh, it's be a great year to be an Auburn beat writer, except for the fact that you can never take a moment off because every loss is, are you firing him tomorrow? Are you firing him tomorrow?
We go full circle here. That was the interesting part of that is yesterday's news of Justin Herbert was terrible news for Auburn. Instead of getting a newcomer quarterback and whatever, you're getting a guy that is a top 3-round draft pick having to compete against him in week 1 with your new quarterback.
Intimidated, yeah.
Well, no, he's fine. I mean, he can beat Auburn in week 1.
And your quarterback's going to be some dude.
I don't know.
Pat Nix, the Nix kid?
Bo
Nix. It's Pat's son.
Don't they have the other kid, the Willis kid? Is he a quarterback?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think he is. You can ask Jay when you go decked out in Missouri crap here in a couple days.
I don't know.
Go Tigers or whatever. How many people is Gabe expecting at this establishment?
I think they're expecting a pretty big crowd.
No kidding.
Yeah. Gabe's mom wants to meet me. She'll be disappointed.
Why?
Because she likes my podcast.
She listens?
Yeah. Not this one, the greatest one.
Yeah, I know what you meant. I saw Gabe got his cat head gift box.
He did.
Had some alcohol in it, had some hats in it.
Had some stuff, got some swag.
I see our koozies are still being given out at Funky's over the course of the last week or two.
Really?
Yeah, I had some people message us on Twitter, got some texts where people would ask for some koozies at Funky's, and we were the ones that were handed out.
That reminds me, I got to send some koozies to somebody that
Do you?
sent me a mail. Yep.
So you need some?
No, I've got some.
Oh, do you have some?
You're like, take more.
How many did you take?
I mean, I've got a bunch.
Do you really?
Yeah. Yeah, I got a bag full of them.
You can have more.
I'm sure.
There's a box. There's a very large box. But
we should just have our own parade. We should get a float at the Oxford Christmas Parade.
A float?
And just throw koozies.
You can't really throw glassware, but we can throw koozies.
Have our own.
That would be like an Arrested Development episode, wouldn't it? You're throwing coffee mugs and pint glasses off a float, hitting people in the nose, breaking them at feet, slicing hands up. Shot glasses.
We have a rebelgrove.com float at the Christmas parade. I bet they'd let us have one. Everybody else has one.
Can any of our 4% decorate said float? You think anybody?
All you need is like a truck. And I've got one.
You have a truck.
So there you go.
You could put a big Clark Ford sticker on the side of the
That's
the
a thought.
Brought to you by Blue Sky and Clark Ford.
Yep. There, see?
Powered by Blue Delta. This is our float, ladies and gentlemen.
It's not a terrible thought. And at the end of it, we'd have no more koozies. There'd be hundreds of people with those koozies going, who is this? What is this?
Yeah. That actually might be my memory of the time of the whole year is in Nashville. We're leaving that thing, and those two girls just wanted the gift bags. They had no idea what was in them. They were not part of our deal at all, but they won the little raffle thing, and they got koozies with our name on them, and then promptly dropped them in a bar floor in Nashville because I had a buddy pick it up.
Yeah. I don't want this stupid koozie.
Yeah, like I said, he sent me the text. He goes, "Hey, can you autograph this for me?" I'm like, "Oh, screw you."
Yeah.
But as we close 2019 or 2018, sorry, we're not 1 year not there yet.
Let's not just completely live it away.
I've been screwing her up this all day because I said, well, the chancellor search might go into early 2019. Well, that is correct. Yes,
it will.
Yes, I meant 2020, but
if the search goes into 2020, it's a nightmare.
Yeah. But as we close out another year, thanks to all of you guys, numbers continue to stay steady, go up as well. And given some of the things going on athletically, we give you all the credit for that to make you part of or make us part of your routine. Continued, we talk about it all the time, but thanks to Ben Craddock for everything that Ben's done throughout the last 6 years. It got everything started, and we've continued to help each other and be part of each other's families now for going on more than a half decade. We renewed another year with them last month or so, and hopefully that continues far into the future. And then Corey and everybody else on the podcast as well as we move forward.
Yeah, Corey Clark and Lee Harris and Blue Delta and Harry Alexander and Grenada Nissan, and there's a bunch of people. The people at Dead Soxy have been great. That's been a fun thing to kind of watch it work, and the Weston and
met a lot of new people this year. A lot of new people.
Yeah.
A lot of ways that we can help each other and help you guys in the process over the course of 2018. We've picked some up.
Sold a lot of honeysuckle vodka.
We've sold a lot of jeans, socks, and vodka this season. Some real estate, some mortgages, some yard, some landscaping.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we can pretty much sell it. It's something for everybody on this here program.
I forgot to mention in my 10-weekend thought, 7 South Tailgating's been with us for a long time, Kyle. And
they were one of the first ones.
Yeah.
It's been
they're a seasonal advertiser, and we weren't in the season, and so it slipped my mind, and I felt terrible about it later.
Did you?
I did. I woke up in the middle of the night going, I forgot to write.
You remembered it?
Yeah. Christmas morning. It was the morning of the 25th, like at 2 in the morning. I was thinking about 7 South Tailgating. I forgot to write that. That was really bad.
But I don't know. I mean, in today's,
I understood why I forgot it. Because
in today's world with so many different options, this goes for both. I mean, to keep all of you guys listening for this long a period of time, and frankly, for some of our long-term advertisers and partners, keeping you guys engaged and getting enough out of both sides of the product over this amount of time is pretty remarkable. So thanks to that, because there's a lot of podcasts out there now. There's a lot of things that you could be spending your time and money on. So we appreciate it being the hours with us, and then the great products that we partner up with and tell you about throughout the year. We'll look forward to 2019 on our next show. That'll be January 2nd. We'll do a little look ahead. We'll probably do some predictions too. Just have a little fun with that. Last thing here, who's going to be in the national title game when we talk next?
Alabama and Clemson.
Alabama and Clemson.
Don't you think?
You worried about Clemson's Dexter Lawrence being out?
I worry about it against Alabama.
Or do you worry about Tua Tagovailoa only being at 80% from a knee standpoint?
Oh, if you told me that Oklahoma pulled off the upset, I don't know that I'd be just blown away.
Does Alabama have a beef and reason to be mad that Tagovailoa fulfilled his media obligations, but Kyler Murray did not, and they were both sick or banged up? Bama was a little irritated yesterday.
Because Kyler,
second year in a row, an Oklahoma quarterback has skipped media day.
Irritated because they
because Tagovailoa was missing rehab to go to his, and Murray did not go because he was, quote, sick, but he was at practice an hour later. Alabama thinks he didn't want to answer baseball questions, so he skipped the media outing.
And he probably skipped it because he didn't want to answer baseball questions.
I'm sure, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's not going to matter.
No, it's not mattering. Jalen Hurts going to play? Prominently play.
Look.
Over under 10 snaps.
Over
10. Okay.
I mean, Tagovailoa did not look good.
Look bad.
And ankles don't heal that fast.
It's ankle. Is it ankle?
Was it knee? Knees heal even slower.
I don't remember. It's one or the other.
I mean, unless dude's Russell Westbrook, who just like heals magically.
Him and like Adrian Peterson.
Yeah. I mean, Russell Westbrook basically broke his ankle and 2 weeks later is running around, jumping over tall buildings. The Oklahoma game's intriguing to me. Their offensive line's really good.
Is that the nightcap?
Yeah.
Okay.
Murray's really good. If you told me they made it interesting, I'd buy it.
Okay.
And if they make it interesting, there will be so many Oklahoma fans around the country around 9:30 on Saturday night. People
wanting
just
something different.
Something different.
So you think the average fan wants Notre Dame, Oklahoma?
Oh, I think the average fan just wants Oklahoma against somebody.
Even if it's Clemson, that's okay?
Sure. Okay. Clemson hasn't won multiple titles yet.
No.
I think people like Clemson more than they like Alabama.
There's no doubt about that.
There's a perception about Alabama, and it's true, that they're not really a college program. That it's a pro program playing college football.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. Thanks to you guys. Again, be back on January 2nd. Good bit up at rebelgrove.com. We'll have any recruiting that matters, any coaching search news that comes along the way. There's also kind of a rewind, look-back videos on A.J. Brown and Greg Little. Those are kind of neat. Those are up at rebelgrove.com, as well as our illustrious picks that we're probably all really, really bad at. So
we suck.
Yeah. Bowls are harder than regular season. It's much more complicated.
Yeah.
And we don't really care. We haven't looked at it the way we might during the week,
No.
to be honest, too. So, Anyway, thanks to you guys. Talk to you again soon.